Well, it is what it is. All right, we're live everywhere. So look at this. SRPT, Sarepta Therapeutics, closed at 123 yesterday. Hit 181 is what it was at the high end pre-market. It's now at 164, so it's kind of fading. And you can expect this company probably will do shelf offerings into um, huge price increases like this. That's how they raise their money. How they raise cash. GME is a great example. Randy, you say scanning for being able to look at stocks with high volume, im implied volatility with good open interest, and whatever else I can come up with that might help narrow it all down. Usually coming up with the same ones we have been in. Yeah, well, that's good. Okay. Just FYI, one of these mornings or during one of the classes in the beginning of the class, let's go over that scan and the parameters that you're using. Unless it's mine, unless you're using the one that I gave you, that's fine. But by the way, they don't scan in the morning. They only scan when the market opens. These ones over here, 1 month, 20%, blah, blah, blah. They don't work pre-market. So, and they won't up, they're showing yesterday's information until the market opens. And then they show what they show. Yeah, so at the beginning of next week's class, let's do that. Let's go over your scan parameters because some of what you said is less important than I think how important you're making it. And you have to be careful because I have enough experience to kind of know the whole spectrum of each of those parameters. So it's almost like I have a simulated scan that I can do in my head based on the scan parameters that you were just talking about. And I know what kind of matches would come up, what kind of matches you'd miss, and whether or not the matches that come up versus the matches you miss are worth even having that scan up, or if it needs to be loosened or tightened, all that kind of stuff. Because I understand the sort of spectrum of what those results are across stocks and whether or not they're extremely reliable. And so you can put in a number and you can have a line you draw in the sand, or if you might be really screwing yourself and you might just want to drop that altogether. So, or somewhere in between. So let's go over that on the next class, okay? At the beginning of the class, please remind me to go over your scan results. Yeah. All right. Well, good morning, everybody. We are taking a look at the market. Sarepta Therapeutics Incorporated, SRPT, has been upgraded this morning on FDA approval for expanded use of one of their drugs that they manufacture. And consequently, a bunch of analysts upgraded in their opinion, doing their analysis, they upgraded their price targets, their medium-term price targets, and they're all over $200. And it was at 123 the other day. So overnight in pre-market, it's up 35%, $124 stock, $3 stock, up 35% is pretty incredible. It hit 181 in pre-market and is now sitting at 164, let's call it, in pre-market from 123 with analyst targets in the lower and mid 200s, right? So that's going to be very hot today, and could be intraday traded, could create a catalyst day, never look back low, green bullish entry. And so that's SRPT. So we're going to put that on our general list here instead of lazy boy over there, which was up one time. We'll put Sarepta Therapeutics. There we go. That is the only one, I believe. Let's see, SRPT. No, I didn't go through. There's three more to look at least. And that is SPR. SPR, I don't love this chart, and this move is really not significant enough. Although, from class last night, this is looking like one of those fast right side reclaim movements. Like you could see that in 4 days, we're moving, 15 days worth of price movement. So that's something like 3 or 4 to 1 in the momentum as far as strength on SPR, Spirit Aerosystems. Boeing reportedly close to buying back Spirit Aerosystems. So this is okay. This is buyback rumor movement, and buybacks you have to be careful of because what if Boeing is not going to offer a great price? It's a hostile price, um, or there's not much price improvement by the time you get in. So, however, there's something going on there. Potentially, there's rumors that Boeing could buy SPR. Okay, Boeing could buy SPR. That's the rumors. You can look into it. Do you do due diligence? Maybe there's something for you there still left over, a little bit of arbitrage on that SPR. It's certainly not necessarily something we can day trade or trade. It's something you'd have to personally decide on whether or not you want to take that merger and acquisition arbitrage trade. That's a very specialized type of trade. Okay, CTLT. This is another one. Like we're not going to be watching SPR like a hawk. All right, CTLT, although it's up 3%, which is hardly anything in pre-market, but it looks like, a nice jump there. The volume is extremely low, so we really can't touch it. We are not interested. And that's it. That's it. So let's take a look at NVIDIA. And NVIDIA is down a little bit more from yesterday's bearish engulfing candle top. We expect that to probably be a top. It was before on March 8th. And then we had, what did we figure out last night? 2 months, 2.5, how much before we broke out again? It was next earnings. We had to wait till the next earnings. So right now, that runway is 56 days away. So we could have 2 months, roughly, of basing on NVIDIA. Pullback basing on NVIDIA before we see higher prices again. And you know what? I'll probably get a call credit spread, which is a bearish credit spread. I'll probably get a call credit spread on this either today. I'm kind of hoping we get some green run today on NVIDIA then in that case, so I can get a little bit closer to the top, and I'll take a call credit spread. But I should have actually done that yesterday, even as late as the close of the market, especially after our analysis in class last night. You could clearly see that the pressure is on NVIDIA at the moment, and that it's likely to just digest for the next couple months, and that there's a lot of bearish positioning going on, which is going to be great, as Carl mentioned, for igniting the kindling for it to continue its run. Because people will have to cover their short positions, which will add on top of the demand. That'll add another source of kindling and fuel to whatever fire that starts on it. But it's not going to start now like this, probably. It's not going to break a new high, or if it does, it's going to fake out probably and not continue and be real, probably. Because we've got the earnings in 56 days, and we've just made a huge progress off the last earnings and split the split. And so it looks like it's probably going to digest now for a little while. That's NVIDIA. Now the market is sitting at lows of yesterday at the open here, and is probably likely to also base, but maybe not that long. We'll see. A long base similar to this one here, which was almost 4 or 5 months. would take us to the November 5 election, and maybe that's exactly what's going to go on now from basically July to November 5 election day night. We now digest, hold back, base, but there could be economic reports as well as PE and earnings reports that PE adjustments that catalyze the market, and that would be on a stock by stock basis. For example, Nvidia may not benefit from those adjustments that we see on the market. However, other stocks may be perfectly set up to break and run. So we'll see as those come up. And but that's my prediction now, starting from yesterday close of market slash last night's analysis of the market and Nvidia. And we've got the election coming up on November 5th, is that at least Nvidia is going to digest until the next earnings, and maybe the market is going to base and digest until November elections. That's what you can kind of expect out there with prices. It's time to play the waiting game. Down, 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 down. The waiting game. That's what it's going to be like for the next couple months, potentially. Remember, nobody really knows what's going to happen. So be on your toes, and we're always on our toes. I mean, we're checking everything every morning, and even at night, what opportunities maybe we glossed over, and always prepared. And if you start to look at the community of traders out there and what they're in, for example, swing traders, I think you'll find they're in all the same names that we're in. That nobody's missing anything, and we're all seeing the same stuff. And it also means that our process is sound, and our scans are sound, and our ideas are sound to get into something. Because you see all the same names: Reddit, Carvana, Spotify, Mara, Robinhood, even GE. I'm in FTAI, First Solar. Dick's Sporting Good has been coming up. Dell, we got in yesterday, pulled back after that entry, however, but I still like the prospect. Kava, App, ANET, Amazon, Affirm, WDC, GCT is still out there. MSTR, Eli Lilly, DraftKings, Adobe, Moderna, VRT. These are names that are you just find them everywhere right now. And when you look back in 10 or 20 years, some of those names won't exist anymore. This is just their moment. So it's not stock picking in the sense that you're going to invest in these companies. You're not finding like these incredible. This is a swing traders, uh, playground. This is just this. These are the kind of stocks that we play with, and the kind of setups and moments that they are having as companies in their cycles. It doesn't mean that these are great companies and you should get in them. They're trades. Some of them will last a day, some of them 5 days, but we pretty much our technique is to hold for a maximum of around 24 days. That's like, a month. That's it. And then if you're a shares trader, maybe you leave some runners on that go for if you're a shares trader, that maybe you let run for a while, for a month or two or three or six plus, but it'll be a small running leftover free ride at that point, hopefully for you. If you ever double your money and you sell half, just remember what you have left now is a free ride. It's house money. That doesn't mean you should just let it all dribble back and then go bankrupt. But so long as the trades continues to work out, you can give it a lot more leeway because it's like when you pull the jackpot, when you pull the slot machine or whatever, and then you get that one particular set of results that causes it to go up to the jackpot spinner dealy bob. Yeah, that's what happens when you double your money and sell half your position, is now you're running a jackpot situation. What happened to my screen? I think it's showing balloons and stuff. So anyway, there we go. We are 6.5 minutes until market open. And if anybody has any questions or anything, let me know. But we're up to speed here. As I mentioned, oh, here's another thing is NNE, nano nuclear energy. This is something that we got in back here. And there are people who got in, knew about the IPO and everything. I love this company. Boy, is it high priced right now. It's extended. Don't ever buy on extension. I mean, just wait. Just give it a month. I mean, if you're inexperienced, you're thinking, oh my God, this thing's flying. I should probably get in. If it's flying, it's already gone. Like we talked about this yesterday. If the boat has left the dock port and it's at the horizon, it's far off. Do not jump in the water with the sharks and try to get to the boat. Just wait a month for it to come back from its journey and consider potentially having your bags packed and ready to go and get on the boat then. Right. So anyway, it's flown and gone, NNE, but I love this company. We talked about it yesterday. And the amazing thing is that on top of me just loving the company and wanting to get shares, I was prepared for this to be a dormant, potentially undiscovered little gem IPO, recent IPO for a year or two. And I was just going to accumulate shares over the course of the next year or two on dips and get my cost basis at a nice point. However, it seems to have been discovered by uh, the penny stocking community, so that pumped it up a lot. And then it's got a lot of attention, and because the company apparently is quite good, it's getting a lot of attention. And the company on Twitter just posted a preview of a clip with an interview with Jordan Peterson interviewing the company about what they do. And they were talking about, in this particular clip, they were talking about how you don't need coolant for a nuclear reactor. Okay. So they have some brilliant technique where you don't need coolant, you just need to release the heat, I suppose. And so that's something that they're innovating. But their main innovation is that they've compacted a nuclear reactor down to the size of a shipping container, and you can put it on a semi truck and then roll it up to a concert venue or a small city and power everything with clean nuclear energy, which is what is it? Way more efficient than solar, which of course is more efficient than battery or EV and more efficient than coal and all that other stuff. Nuclear is the way to go with everything, including nuclear rocket engines and all the rest. Just we've got to get over as a society our fear of radioactivity and engineer our way through that. And in fact, like this, for example, this company, Nano Nuclear Energy, uses a clean form, a less non-toxic radioactive process, so safer. So it's quite safe actually, and the byproduct is water steam. It's kind of like a hydrogen engine or a hydrogen bomb. That sounds safe. In any event, I bought it $7. It hit $17 or almost yesterday. This morning it's at 15. It IPO'd at $4 a month and a half ago, and it's pretty incredible because as they get sales revenue, that's only going to fuel their fire. It's going to validate, it's going to validate their product and service and ideas, and it's going to fuel their fire to continue to innovate it down to smaller size, more efficiencies, other uses, until eventually you've got the Ghostbusters backpack. But it's just cool as fuck. And I think that I love them, and I want it definitely to get below my cost basis of 7 before I accumulate. But right now I'm taking profits off. So then I'll use those profits later to buy back in, and that for the same price reduces my cost basis. Uh, and literally and subjectively as well. So I'm looking forward to that. I love the NNE story. Just love it. I hope it's not bullshit. Just knock on wood. Do your due diligence. You know, uh, Anybody could be wrong about anything. Everybody could be wrong about anything at any time. Just remember that. All right, minute and 35 seconds until the market opens, everybody. And NNE, that's the stock there for the portable nuclear reactors that you could just drive up to locations. But you probably should watch how you're driving. Don't let that fucker fall off the truck. Oops. Yeah. Okay. All right, and SRPT, we're watching that, and then we'll see. It's off screen here, but it's on screen for some of the other platforms. We'll be watching our meters here of opportunities, which are via our scans. But I've created a sort of metering system, which shows us of all of our hot opportunities, how many of them breadth-wise, half of them, 80% of them, 20% of them are bullish off of the open, from the open. So they have direction either up for the day or down for the day. And we'll be able to see that. It's Friday. Volume can be low. If demand is lower and supply is the same, then Friday is generally not a day where you see lots of price improvement typically, but it can definitely happen. And with rotation, it can get a little tricky because many stocks can go up while other ones go down. So you could have a rotational day as well. So that can be tricky. You can't actually fully know. You just have to watch and understand. Watch and understand. All right, market is open and selling off right away. That doesn't necessarily mean anything, but it's selling off right away, right off of that first tick out of the gate, selling. And that is continuing. If we break a pre-market pivot low, that will be significant because Randy, like last night where we were talking about, if it can't break the low of some prior area, then that's just inside trading and it means nothing. So action inside of pivot points is very similar to action inside of a candlestick, high and low. So a inside bar is the same as sort of just inside price movement inside of a area, pivot point area. All right, looking at SRPT, it looks like it's not running out of the gate. And SPY, S&P 500, is also selling off at the open. So I think we're going to get that sort of NVIDIA is topping. Let's wait till the election thing I was just talking about. So first thing I'm going after right now, right out of the gate, is I'm going to go check the call credit spread on NVIDIA because that's what I'm probably going to go ahead and grab a piece of that now. As it is 16th of August, call credit spread around 20 delta. Let's see what it pays on NVIDIA. Let's pull up NVIDIA. Okay, we are getting some supportive doji-like softening on that NVIDIA pullback, which is freaking exactly as predicted in masterclass last night on NVIDIA. All right, that's so interesting that we just nailed the behavior we were expecting. So about 157 is the August 16 area. That's 20 delta. That's around here. August 16, that's around August 16, 157, 16, 157 is right around here. And I have to say, that is troublingly nearby. It's a little bit too nearby for my tastes. So that looks like this, 157. That would be the 25, the 20 delta from here, because it's going to be quite easy for NVIDIA to break to new highs from here. I mean, if it wants to. So I really don't want to be under too much pressure there. Anyway, what does it pay? Let's find out. Even if we were, going to grab that 157 pays 13 bucks out of 87 bucks. So 15% return on a 20 delta. The calls are on a bullish stock are always priced with a lower return. So the question is, should I go higher? for a more probable result, maybe to 160. Or should I even stay away? Should I just stay away? Let's see, 160, what is the 160 pay? The 160 is an 18 delta. And pays 11 out of 91 cents, which is not a lot. I mean, 89 cents. 12.35% return on your capital to short NVIDIA. I mean, on the one part, you're shorting one of the most bullish stocks on the stock market, which is not the greatest idea. But on the other part, we've seen in the past that this is the behavior we expect for it to digest for the next few months. So anyway, that line looks like this. It's not that much improved. 160 and a little change. It's like that. So the question is, do I want 13% ROC or 12.5% ROC up here? And they're so negligibly different that it really doesn't matter too much to me. In fact, perhaps I'll go even lower, to be frank. Because it's either going to work or it's not going to work, and it's going to be a loss. So it's it's going to work or it's not going to work. And if NVIDIA remains under pressure, then how well can it stay under that line over the course of the life of the next 2 months? That's the question. The prior bullish engulfing looked like this afterward. Which is what I would expect for it to do. But that line would have looked something like this. We're getting almost an exact replay. And you can see for the first 2 or 3 weeks, we're not even profitable. We're upside down on a bearish trade, but then it really starts to accelerate. So you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for NVIDIA over the next few days to come and try and retest like the upper 75% retracement area over here. You see what I'm saying? That's what I'm going to do. I mean, I'm formulating this plan right now. Here, what I'm saying is this little area right here. That's where I'm going to grab this line, the put credit spread, which will then be like this. And at a much more likely and safer point, and I'll know right away if we break to higher highs, if that's going to be, under pressure, my my call credit spread. So, okay, let me delete that. And this. And we're just going to have to watch NVIDIA. The choices were be Nostradamus and predict and know that yesterday this very high price of 140 was the top, which some of you will say you could have done or you did or you said, but then put your money where your mouth is. That's fine. And if you did, great. You're one of the few, but that's how do we all do it and all know, and people, not just be the one right guy. That has to be a repeatable process. You can't just guess every time. So we couldn't have been able to do that unless you could have did that. Then that would have been great. But outside of that, buying a call credit spread down here at the bottom of yesterday's day would give you a lot of risk area, Where what I'm saying is if we can push back up to the 75 to 100% retrace to the double top, somewhere in that region, if we scale in to call credit spreads there, or a short, if you're shorting, however you want to short, or puts, however you want to put that, okay, that's going to be a less risky, more probable, higher payoff way of getting in at the right spot. If you get in back here, that's what I'm saying is that, you're just guessing, you don't know, but a retracement to retest, could do it. The only problem is hopefully there's not some economic report that's really good that happens right around that time and then pushes it up and out, and then now we're running again. But hey, not every trade works out, and you got to be prepared to lose some trades sometimes. It just, that's part of the risks. All right, so that's the situation on NVIDIA. Let's look at SRPT. It's trying to take off now, and this is interesting because on the 5-minute dip buy, we might have gotten a 5-minute dip buy because the market has now been open for 8 minutes, almost 9 minutes. Boy, I said a lot about NVIDIA in 9 minutes, didn't I? 8.5 minutes, that was pretty good. And it wasn't even the full 8.5 minutes. Anyway, we've got a first 5-minute candle here with a high and a low, and we're looking to get in if you wanted to get into SRPT bullish, either for the intraday 5-minute dip buy strategy or for an entry, then you'd be looking for it to make a new high in the market here at 164.50. That's as of right now. As each 5-minute candle goes by, that number is going to change. Like for instance, 164 is the top of the current candle. If that's broken the next 5-minute period, we have 30 seconds that are to close this current 5-minute candle. If that breaks in the next 5 minutes or in the next bit of time, 164, then that becomes the triggered entry. So in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and look and see what the options pricings are like. But beware, SRPT could have an offering in the future. It's very likely to absorb some of the new higher prices and raise some cash. That's how they do that. Just be aware. Okay, so what are the options pricings like for the 16th of August, 56 days to expiration, option chain, put credit spread around 20 delta? It is a bit wide. I'm surprised because I expected this stock to be hotter and the options to be a little bit hotter than this. The open interest is in the hundreds, not thousands, and the volume is almost non-existent. The 17 delta, the spread is 570 divided by 390. The spread is 46%. So this is not conducive to a credit spread. So at most, you might be able to get in on shares on SRPT, but the credit spread on it is not a viable option. Alrighty, so there we go. We're 10 minutes off the open, and looking at our meter, we are about 95% red off of the open. So all growth opportunity stocks agree, sell. That's what's going on right now across the market on the best stocks. The leaders and all the ones that are sub-leading are selling off. I don't even care about the shitty stocks. They could be going up for all I care. It doesn't matter. We're not interested in getting into those because they're more unpredictable, more uncertain, and we can't really trade them. But the greatest opportunities out there are not doing well today. They're selling off of the open. And so that's probably what we can expect today, that the market will be under pressure. Here's what it looks like. 4 points to a downtrend off of the open. Hey, every move bottoms, every move tops intraday. Almost always within reason. About 1 out of 20 days, sometimes you just have a down, 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 or up, 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 up type of day. About 19 out of 20 days, though, eventually a top or a bottom gets put in. It's usually right around 10 a.m. It could be 9:45, could be 9:55, 10:15, 10:05. It's not about the time. It's just about it's about when it gets ripe and the opening volume has waned enough to where it has a hard time bringing more volume in order to push prices in further direction. So unless it's a crash or something, a panic, then you can expect it then to sort of put in a low. So that can happen obviously today, but we can still then retest highs, even go up higher, and then come back down and or end up in the middle. And today we expect it to be a low volume day, and most low volume days are doji type of days, non-consequential days. So with that said, I think that's our stream this Friday morning. There's no opportunities to get in. other than some of the stuff that I spoke about, and you can be watching those. And you need to be managing your positions because everything's sort of selling off today, but not in a big way. It's pretty minor. Look, a little movement. That could be. It could get down there. It can happen. We'll see. The day is still young. And Nvidia probably similar. Yeah, Nvidia is actually a bit more supported. In other words, the sell-off yesterday on Nvidia uh, is a big part of the digestion already sort of occurred on Nvidia, and now it's going to just sort of like hang out for a little while everybody else goes, Nvidia is probably right. Yeah, let's take some profits. But the leaders are always first. Leaders start first and they end first as well. So you can't use the market as a guide to tell you that now it's time to get into a leader, and you can't use the market because it's an average of many other stocks, and you can't use the market to help you say, hey, things aren't looking good, I should probably get out of my leader that you happen to be positioned in. Right? No. You simply have to trust price action strategy, and use what the leader is doing as the guide for that. However, that said, other stocks that aren't leaders that you might be in, they could be more subject to how the market is signaling. So it's just that there's a big difference between leaders and, well, and of course followers, and average stocks. And by average, I don't mean average return or performance, just that they are moving along with the market, but they may have a higher beta and be doing quite well. We focus on only high ADR percent, ADR, average daily range percent, type of stocks, over 3.6% ADR, and have excellent fundamental growth prospect or history and prospect. And those are called high growth stocks. All right, you guys, have a great weekend if I don't see you, but I'll see you back in the group. Trade safer, trade smarter, uh, with me. Hope to see you again on the next stream, and I'll see you back in the group, everybody. Click the link in my bio if you'd like to learn more about our group. Bye.